in 1928 to Christian and Marie Spate on the farm just outside of Morris. Her mom's parents were Theodore and Pauline Colburn. Mom had a younger sister, Margaret, and a younger brother, Theodore. They were a German-speaking family, so when my mom started school, she could only speak German. Can you imagine how difficult that would be? And I think it was a German community, so that's probably why they never learned English at a young age. The school was Wild Rose School located near Morris. She only attended school until grade 8. After grade 8, she stayed on the farm and helped her mom, who was struggling with asthma. As a young girl, she learned from her mom how to sew, do great needlework, as you can see a few of her doilies are sitting around. She was a great cook and baking, and helping with chores. She did gardening, canning, and of course making homemade sausage, doing a little butchering of the chickens, all those good things that she learned and taught us, actually. When Mom was 19 or 20, she left home and got a job at the McWilliams farm at Stelcombe, close to Moose Jaw, where she met my dad, who also worked there. They were married October 15th, 1949. They purchased a house in Moose Jaw, and I don't remember the address. Florence probably does, but no? Before your time too, okay. So that house had no running water, no an outside toilet, and they lived next door to Mabel and Sherman Sears, who became lifelong friends. Mom worked at Canada Packers, and Dad worked at the Rockwool plant there, I believe. We weren't sure. Mom couldn't remember at the time when I asked her. I was born in 1950. We lived in Moose Jaw for another year, then moved to the family farm near Ardale. Again, no power and running water, so she was used to it by that time. Sandra was born in 1952 and married in 1956. They were outgrowing the little house, so they decided to demolish a large old farmhouse on some of their land, and they, board by board, they took that old house apart and they built a new house out of the lumber from that old house. And they put in power and running water, which was nice. And at that time, when we had, I can't remember how old I was, but I remember my mom, she did all the mudding and taping on the drywall and the painting. And she was so fussy, my God. If there was, she would sand and then do some more muddy, and then she would sand, and we were like, oh my gosh, let's just get this painting done. But anyways, we knew she was fussy, and I'm pretty sure that's how Dave and Patrick get their construction skills, is from her. Because I think she was better at it than Dad. Mom had a great garden, flowers, fruit trees, bushes. She was always planting trees, growing grass, cutting grass, pruning hedges. The yard was always well groomed. She raised chickens, milk cows, sold cream and eggs, and her barn was as clean as the house. I can't believe how many times she washed that barn. She was the leader of a 4-H sewing club for a few years, and so you realize she was also a great teacher with lots of patience, because I was in that sewing club. They moved off the farm around 1974 and bought a house in Saskatoon on Taylor Street. They then sold that and went to Dalhousie for a while, and from there they built a house on Champlain Crescent. And again, Mom did all the the painting and drywalling and all, not the drywalling, but the taping and all that kind of stuff. They took in university students to help with the income, and she loved cooking and feeding them. I think some of those students are here today. I know Larry's in the back there. I think he was one of them. So some of them were her nieces and nephews, and she loved cooking and looking after them. Mom also had time to do some ceramics with her friends, and I think there's a piece sitting on one of the tables back there that she did, but I have lots of pieces, and so do my sisters. In 1987, they moved to Moose Jaw, had a new house built on Dahlia Crescent by Jimmy Sandbeck, and now Ellie Sandbeck lives in that house after Mom sold it. But Mom did all the painting in that house as well, and she did the drapes and the curtains, so she was an amazing seamstress. And then she landscaped all the yard. She did a great job. We lost Dad in 2006, and she lost her sister in 2007 and her brother in 2009. But Mom stayed in the house for another 8 years after Dad went, and then she sold her house and moved to Moss Bank in a house where Julie had built. And she settled in and enjoyed her grandchildren and great-grandchildren there. And then from Julie, she went to Frozen Faith, where she spent some time with friends there, and we are so lucky. She was close to family, had family around her, and knew everyone in the community there. So we were so lucky to have her in our life for such a long time. She gave us lots of knowledge about basic things in life and left us with some great memories. And so that is a little history of my mom. And I also have a little note that I'd like to read to you from our family in Winnipeg. So this is what Susan had to say. In loving memory of our Auntie Irene, we have such wonderful memories of our time there with her and the family. Love from the Winnipeg Bender family. Wish we could be there with you to honor our dear aunt, from Susan and family in Winnipeg. So that was nice to hear from them too, and I wish they could all be here with us. And now I think we have Julie and the grandchildren of Mom's to come up and, if she's capable. Does any of the grandkids want to come up and give her some